Can't hear me? No? Okay. Come on in just a minute for everyone to be seated. Thank you. Come on in. Lots of spaces. Okay, is everyone in from the back? Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and family, members of the fallen workers' families, welcome to our event. Please rise for O Canada, followed by Fratelli d'Italia.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true North, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia se desta dell'emo discipio se cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le porga la chioma che schiava di Roma e Dio la creò. Fratelli d'Italia, l'Italia se desta dell'emo discipio se cinta la testa, dove la vittoria le porga la chioma che schiava di Roma e Dio la creò. Stringiamoci a corte, son pronti alla morte, son pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Stringiamoci a corte, son pronti alla morte, son pronti alla morte, l'Italia chiamò. Sì.
Thank you very much. We'd like to take a moment to thank Katerina Gliosca, who gives her time graciously every year to our event, singing our beautiful national anthems. Thank you, Katerina. Please welcome the CEO of Villa Charities, our land sponsor and our longtime supporter, Marco Di Buono, to open our event.
Thank you, Paula. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marco Di Buono, and I'm the President and CEO of Villa Charities. I would like to extend a warm welcome to you all, and especially to any families of fallen workers who are here with us today. We have several distinguished guests with us, and I would like to take a moment to recognize them. The Consul General of Italy in Toronto, Mr. Luca Zelioli, is here. His Worship Mayor of Vaughan, Stephen Del Duca. I believe Italian Senator Francesca Lamarca is here as well. Our newest MPP in the Eglinton-Lawrence riding, Michelle Cooper, is here. Our good friend MPP Rudy Guzzetto from Mississauga Lakeshore is here as well. Frank Maio from the National Congress of Italian Canadians, and the President of Comitas, Michele Di Marco. Thank you. Before our official ceremony begins, I would like to first acknowledge that we are on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. Village Charities also acknowledges that Toronto is covered by treaties signed by multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. We are grateful to have the opportunity to create and work on this territory. Village Charities feels a deep sense of pride in our long-standing involvement with the Italian Fallen Workers Memorial Project. Hosting the unveiling of this significant monument on April 28, 2016 was a privilege for the organization, and we are honored to provide its permanent home for future generations. The subsequent awarding of the Medaglia d'Oro al Merito Civile to this project by the Government of Italy in 2017 speaks to its national importance. Today, on the National Day of Mourning, we solemnly remember the more than 1,600 Italian-Canadian workers who tragically lost their lives in workplaces across Canada. We recognize the profound responsibility that comes with this memorial, a powerful reminder of our community's heritage, and a vital space for gathering, reflection, and remembrance for years to come. I also want to acknowledge the exceptional work of Marino Topen and Paola Breda and the entire Italian Fallen Workers Memorial Project. Their tireless efforts were instrumental in ensuring that the sacrifices and significant contributions of these fallen workers to the social and economic fabric of our nation are properly recognized and remembered. Now I would like to welcome the Consul General of Italy in Toronto, Mr. Luca Zalioli, who joins with Village Charities in proudly sponsoring this project. Thank you.
Thank you, distinguished authorities, ladies and gentlemen. It is always with that we gather here at this memorial, in this case in this beautiful hall. And as it was already said, I want myself recognize once again the positive efforts, very positive efforts of the committee overseeing the monument and who is continuing this effort. And I want also to express my personal satisfaction for the fruitful cooperation among the Consulate General, the committee itself, and of course Village Charities in organizing this important ceremony. A ceremony that is held on the International Day to remember all the fallen workers, of course. And here, however, we are surrounded by the too many names of those Italians who perished while contributing to build this country. And too many names, unfortunately, continue to be discovered by the committee. And they certainly, all of them, they certainly deserve to be recognized too. I am assured after last year's successful function by the fact that the Italian-Canadian community has continued to financially support the work of the committee through a new project that will allow to remember those new names properly. And while I extend my gratitude to those who have already supported, I renew the appeal to continue help the committee. The monument is an essential memory for the whole community. And while most of the Italian migrants, in fact, were successful, others, and we don't have to forget that, met, unfortunately, a very different fate, made not only of discrimination, but also of illness, and finally death. Remembering them means to honor those who have made the history of the Italian diaspora in this province, in this country, but not just as a reminder of past sacrifices, but also as a reminder of how crucial workplace safety continue to be even today. So thank you all for your presence and for your support. Thank you.
Buongiorno, and welcome to the Italian Fallen Workers Memorial Ceremony of 2025. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, it's my turn now.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome to this event. I'm so excited of seeing so many of you here today. First, maybe I'm getting tired of keep repeating the same thing, but I have to say them. When I started this project, I didn't realize it was going to be so difficult. I retired in 1994, and I haven't had a free day since. But what I've done, I put una cordata di volontari, Fortunato Rao, Paul De Giulio, tutti gli altri che mi hanno aiutato. Però non siamo non solo a metà strada, tant'è vero che oggi abbiamo una buona notizia da darvi. Finalmente vedo la luce at the end of the tunnel, come si dice qui. Quando ero sono venuto qui nel 55, si parla di 70 anni fa. I primi 5 anni li ho fatti da muratore. Mi sono realizzato di quanto brutali erano le condizioni di lavoro, cominciando da come ci trasportavano nei cantieri di lavoro, come se fosse bestiame. Gli assegni rimbalzavano dalle banche, non erano riconosciuti e incidenti succedevano spesso. Perciò mi sono messo nel 60 la mia vita di sindacalista, che è una vita molto molto difficile, per la quale ho molta ammirazione per sindacalisti italo-canadesi che potrebbero con la loro abilità a fare qualsiasi altro lavoro, ma si battono per aiutare i loro compagni di lavoro, per far migliorare le condizioni di lavoro, di sicurezza, di paga. E siamo arrivati a questo punto che dovevamo... morivano quasi ogni giorno e io dicevo no, speriamo che non sia un altro italiano, ma invece sì, erano tanti italiani. E io quando lavoravo nel locale 506 ho pensato di fare qualche cosa almeno per i nostri membri della mia locale che erano morti, ed ho invitato le famiglie di una dozzina di vittime italiane e portoghesi che sono morti sul lavoro. E quando abbiamo finito la cerimonia abbiamo dato un ricordo alle vedove ed un mazzo di rose. Una famiglia che è venuta con la figlia si sono avvicinate a me e non sapevano come ringraziarmi. Dicevano mai prima, mio padre ha detto è morto 35 anni fa, nessuno si è mai ricordato, poi la mia unione si è ricordata e sono andate dirette al cimitero a posare il mazzo di rose. E poi è andata a casa e mi ha mandato una email, una lunga lettera, spiegandomi che lei era convinta che il padre era su nel cielo che sorrideva vedendole. Ed è stata una cosa che mi ha spinto: perché non facciamo per tutti i nostri connazionali che sono morti sul lavoro? e ho fatto con una cordata di volontari e mi sono messo a lavorare e quanti ostacoli abbiamo incontrato, quante difficoltà abbiamo incontrato, quanti cantieri che abbiamo trovato dove sapevamo che erano morte, erano successe delle gravi sciagure e non riuscivamo di trovare i nomi. E la difficoltà nostra era che se non fosse stato per Paola Breda il monumento non sarebbe ancora qui, perché lei sa manovrare il computer, mi ha insegnato un poco a me, ma io sono ancora e abbiamo accumulato tanti nomi e nel 2016 finalmente abbiamo inaugurato il nostro memoriale. È stata una grande, commovente cerimonia, partecipazione di membri del governo federale, il governo provinciale, la città di Toronto, e tutti avevano parole di complimenti, di elogi per la laboriosità della comunità italiana. Noi siamo venuti qui per lavorare e abbiamo lavorato e lavoriamo, ma tanti sono morti e a me io penso che sia giusto da parte nostra, che sia addirittura il nostro dovere di fare qualche cosa per ricordare queste povere anime che sono venuti qui con una valigia sconquassata come me in cerca di lavoro, perché in Italia il lavoro non si trovava in quei tempi. E invece di trovare un lavoro hanno trovato una tragica morte. E molti giacciono ancora in qualche fredda tomba, in chissà dove, nessuno si ricorda di loro. Come a Uganda, per esempio, dove hanno aperto una miniera, erano tutti italiani, bravi lavoratori italiani, però morivano tutti i giorni, succedeva disgrazie, a tal punto che un gruppo di loro ha detto adesso basta, andiamo dal consolato italiano a reclamare. Il consolato italiano in Ontario non esisteva, sono andati nel Quebec. Ma cosa poteva fare il consolato italiano? Niente. Però quelle miniere che si trovavano nel Uganda erano forse maledette, succedeva disgrazie tutti i giorni, che i proprietari hanno deciso di chiuderla, abbandonare, sparire, andare via. Cosa è successo? Uganda è diventata una ghost town. Non c'è più nessuno lì, è solo conosciuta da chi va a caccia del moose, perché sono tutti boschi lì. Anche il cimitero è stato conquistato da madre natura, non c'è una lapide in piedi. E si vede lì col visual, col computer si può vedere un aerial view, non c'è una lapide in piedi. E bisognerebbe andare a rischiare per vedere i nomi e rintracciare e vedere. Non si trovano, ma noi sappiamo che lì ci sono tanti italiani, erano tutti italiani i minatori lì. E quello è solo uno, potrei citare, stare tutta questa sera qui a parlarvi, ma le vittime sono state e dobbiamo ricordarle. Io non so più cosa fare, però vediamo adesso due esempi di due offerte. Uno è stato dalla compagnia di volontari che assiste le famiglie delle vittime del come si può dire quella malattia? Mesofilioma. È una bruttissima malattia che attacca i polmoni ed è incurabile. Quanti sono morti? E quanti sono morti semplicemente da una bronchite, dicevano, e non possiamo aggiungere i loro nomi, però questa associazione di volontari che assiste le famiglie delle vittime del mesofilioma ci hanno dato una donazione di $1.500. È incredibile! E io sono sicuro che mi aiuteranno anche a rintracciare e verificare se quelli che sono morti da una bronchite o una polmonite o altre malattie polmonari anzi non erano da malattie, ma erano malattie causate dal lavoro e meriterebbero di essere ricordati e onorati come vittime del lavoro. E sì, questo è una cosa che si può fare. Poi abbiamo un altro esempio. Quando io ero organizzatore delle unioni, per incoraggiare i miei connazionali a non aver paura delle unioni, sono qui per aiutarci, ho cominciato un programma radio chiamato La Voce del Lavoro. Ricordo per esempio, come si chiama quel senatore che ogni volta mi vedeva e dice arriva la voce del lavoro. Peter Bosa, sì, ecco. E una delle unioni che partecipava, ho convinto 14 unioni ad aderire. Una delle unioni era locale 46 della Plumbers Union. Il rappresentante, ognuno mandava il suo rappresentante per spiegare chi erano loro e cosa dovevamo dire per loro. Mi dà il suo biglietto e io leggo il nome, è chiamato Jim Whitehead. E io ho detto, ma che italiano sei tu? No, dice, scusa, il mio nome è Jimmy Capobianco. Ho dovuto cambiare perché non potevo trovare lavoro. Sono stato costretto, odiavo di dover cambiare il nome dei miei genitori. Jimmy Capobianco. La sua unione è qui oggi e ci darà un'offerta più grande di qualsiasi altra unione, di qualsiasi altra offerta, $50.000. Non ci credo! Grazie Plumbers Union! Grazie Plumbers Union! Io vorrei che non solo la Plumbers Union, ma tutte le unioni, tutti i sindacati in Canada avessero lo stesso atteggiamento verso gli immigranti. La Plumbers Union è l'unica che il 2 giugno chiamerà i suoi membri per vedere innalzare il tricolore italiano per onorare la Repubblica Italiana. So, grazie Plumber Unions, you are the best. Questa è una cosa che vorrei vedere molte altre unioni, anche non solo per gli italiani, ma per gli altri immigranti, per fargli capire per fargli sentire di sentirsi bene, di sentirsi a casa loro qui. E la Plumbers Union è stata quella, e io sarò lì il 2 giugno. E non finirò mai di ringraziarvi per la vostra collaborazione, la buonanima di Jimmy Whitehead, Capobianco, pace all'anima sua, che è stato un caro amico per me e un sostenitore del mio programma. Ora siamo qui, forse senza fiato, però siamo quasi al traguardo. Abbiamo un memoriale con 1300 nomi incisi sulle sue colonne e non c'è più un solo posto. Però specialmente Paola Bleda, che è un mago con la computer, siamo riusciti a rintracciarne almeno altri 2000 e non sappiamo dove metterli. E siamo sicuri che ce ne sono ancora centinaia e centinaia di nomi che dobbiamo trovarli. È il nostro dovere non solo di trovarli, ma è anche il nostro dovere di onorarli, di ricordarli, di fare sì che il loro nome venga ricordato in futuro. Sono venuti qui, come ripeto, con una valigia tutta sgangherata, però per dare un futuro migliore alle loro famiglie. Abbiamo dei villaggi nell'Abruzzo che sono rimasti tutti i figli orfani perché il padre è morto nei cantieri canadesi. E ci sono tanti esempi di orrore che non voglio neanche raccontare, solo che le condizioni di lavoro erano talmente brutali che non mai avevamo immaginato di incontrare un numero così grande di suicidi. Il suicidio è una cosa orribile. Non siamo qui per dare un'approvazione a questo gesto malsano. Sappiamo però, nessuno ha lasciato uno scritto per cosa, ma sappiamo che erano esposti a lavori brutali, o forse avevano perso il lavoro, o forse erano ammalati e non potevano più lavorare. Uno che si è gettato di fronte a un treno è morto sull'istante. In tasca aveva una lettera dalla Workers' Compensation Board che gli negava il diritto perché diceva no, la tua malattia polmonare non è riconosciuta dalla Compensation Board. Cosa poteva fare più quell'uomo lì? Forse non aveva neanche i soldi per pagare il room and board, non aveva più i soldi per tornare in Italia come sconfitto. Si è gettato sotto il treno. Quello l'abbiamo riconosciuto che il nome è nel nostro memoriale, ma gli altri ancora no. Però speriamo di trovare un modo di dare un nome e sperare che tutti loro possano avere una pace eterna. Abbiamo qui il memoriale, ma che è il più grande memoriale di ogni altra comunità in Canada. Il Welland Canal è stato costruito più morti italiani di tutte le altre comunità messe assieme. E potrei citarvi centinaia di esempi, ma sarebbero troppo orribili. Per i suicidi non possiamo aggiungerli nel memoriale, ma anche se noi sappiamo che sono vittime del lavoro, ma non è giusto aggiungerli a quelli che sono morti perché sono caduti dalle impalcature, eccetera. Abbiamo trovato una preghiera di gennaio di un artista italiano, si chiama Fabrizio De André. Non la leggo qui perché strapperebbe le lacrime a voi. Io ogni volta che la leggo non posso trattenere le lacrime. Solo che conclude con due parole. Invita il Signore a dire: ascolta la sua voce che ormai canta nel vento. Signore, vedrai, sarai contento. Questo di più non possiamo fare per loro. Si vorrebbe poter fare di più, ma non possiamo. Ma per tutti gli altri, le nostre vittime del lavoro, io penso che la comunità italiana è una delle più ben piazzate. Qui abbiamo non centinaia di migliaia, si parla già di milioni di italo-canadesi qui. E per reggere un memoriale per i caduti sul lavoro non dovrebbe essere difficile, dovrebbe essere facile. La Plumber Union ha dato un esempio che è esemplare per tutte le altre unioni. Ha dato un'offerta di $50.000, ma io sono quasi svenuto quando ho saputo di questo. Non ci credevo. E ancora stento di credere. L'organizzazione che assiste le famiglie della mesofilioma, quel cancer polmonare, ci ha dato $1.500, questi sono soldi che hanno raccolto da offerte e li hanno dati a noi perché sanno che anche il nostro lavoro è importante. Vorrei solo convincere la comunità italiana che il nostro lavoro è importante perché è nostro dovere di onorare le vittime del lavoro italiane. Hanno perso la vita qui, meritano essere aiutati. Dateci una mano, siamo già quasi a ritardo. Thank you per ascoltarmi, God bless you. E un altro anno, al 28 aprile, che spero non sia un giorno di votazione come oggi, ci troveremo qui se siamo ancora al mondo e vedremo il memoriale finito. Grazie, buon proseguimento.
So you know Marino Topang, in his passion, always goes off script. So. I'll just do a little bit of English and catch up. Today we stand together in remembrance of all of the fallen and injured workers of Canada because we know that workplace tragedies affect us all. Through this memorial, we pay special tribute to the members of the Italian-Canadian community as we learn about the very high price paid by Italian immigrants, and we want to make sure that this is noted and everybody understands that this is still an untold story of Canadian history. Marino and his generation, many of them sitting behind me, want to make sure that the younger generations are aware of this massive impact on Canadian history, especially with respect to labor history and the massive numbers of losses in our community. Some of our forefathers came from Italy as far back as 1880 to build a railroad, something most people don't even know. And then later to work the dangerous mines all over the country. We found dead people all over the place, tutti nomi italiani. And then later to work, endure the brutal conditions of the post-war construction industry, where Marino and Fortunato worked really hard, and I believe Oduardo, I see him somewhere today, is Oduardo, also worked hard with the labor conditions and the situations there back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. We know that our community struggled and sacrificed in so many ways, not only the brutal conditions of the 1880s all the way through to the 1980s endured by the Italians in Canada, but now we also know the terrible effects of the industrial diseases, the exposure to industrial materials. And now if these men didn't die back in those days from these terrible accidents, they're dying in their 80s now of terrible diseases. One man told me that in Sarnia, in the clinics for these cancers, it's all Italian old men dying slowly of these terrible diseases. We are saddened by this multi-level death that is a sacrifice of our community. During our lengthy research, we learned about another group of Italians that suffered, and Marino talked a bit about him in his opening remarks. The life of a miner and many others who threw himself in front of a train because he was neglected from the Workers' Compensation Board, which in those days didn't accept industrial diseases, and he couldn't work anymore. He died instantly when the train hit him, like Marino said, but of course, because he technically killed himself, we couldn't put him on our list, like Marino also said, but we feel compassion for these people, many of them we found, who died almost as a secondary effect of the labor conditions, not necessarily an initial effect. They were not eligible for our memorial, but we recognize them still, and we hope that they have found peace. Like in many terrible tragedies, the artists of the future who have been able to enjoy life because of the sacrifices of the past have the opportunity and the privilege to reflect on the past and honor the memories of those who suffered. And to this end, we would like to introduce two poets who will be reciting their work today as related to the injured and fallen workers of our community. The first is longtime supporter of our project, Gianna Patriarca, who herself had firsthand knowledge of how it was to grow up in an Italian family and see the hardship experienced. She is followed by Caterina Spada. No, that's later. That's later. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Paola. Thank you, Pal, for helping me up. The old knees ain't what they used to be. They're still working, ornamental, but still working. Yeah. It is incredible, the energy and the amazing passion and the work ethic of these two people, and also all of their committee. I cannot believe, I've been coming here for the past 7, 8 years to this event, and each time I come, my heart grows bigger and bigger. We all have different ways of giving to our community, and some of us may not be able to do it financially or in ways that could help that way, but we try to give in different ways in whatever talent and gift we've been given. And for the past 40 years, in my 13 books, I have tried to honor not only my immigrant experience, but the immigrant experience of my community and of the people that have come in and out of my life. And today, all of those names on that memorial have a story. All have individual stories. I can only share one story, but I hope that this one is in some way reminiscent of all the stories of our community members who have in some way been tragically taken from us. It's from my very first book of poetry called Italian Women and Other Tragedies. And it's called Dolce Amaro, and I wrote it for my father. So for Luciano, Patriarca, and for all of you. He has learned to bend the way branches do under the white weight of endless Januaries. This country has taken everything: his health, his language, the respect of his modern children, and the love of his sometime angry wife. In some forgotten lifetime, he was a young, dark-haired man in a ship packed with young, dark-haired men, floating uncomfortably toward a dream they didn't want to bury with the still young bones of mothers and fathers among the ruins of a post-war Italy. For most, the dream did not come easily. The golden paved North America, it wasn't paved at all. There were only years of feeling strange, cold, hot months over multiplying bricks, hands turned leathery and large, their needs stored away in cave cellars deep with the color of aging wine. In the evenings, there was the smell of group sweat, of cheap meals seasoned with resentment by the wives of aspiring landlords. For my father, the dream ended early, when his knees were crushed by the weight of steel along some railroad line. I can't remember. He was 31. There was no insurance then, and little interest for the benefits of the immigrant man. He bends easily at 57. He walks with a cane. He rarely opens his lifeless eyes. The government sends him $51 a month in recognition. My father is gone, along with so many others, but each step I continue to take, his broken legs accompany me without pain. And ladies and gentlemen, because we're Italian, I translated this in Italian for Marino because I would like him to hear it in Italian. I hope that's all right with you. Dolce amaro. Ha imparato a piegarsi come fanno i rami sotto il bianco peso dei lunghi gennai. Questa terra gli ha preso tutto, la salute, la lingua, il rispetto dei figli moderni e l'amore di una moglie un po' incazzata. In qualche altro tempo, in una vita dimenticata, era un giovane con capelli scuri, in una nave carica di giovani con capelli scuri, galleggiando scomodamente verso un sogno che non volevano seppellire, con le ossa ancora giovani di madri, di padri, tra le rovine di un'Italia dopoguerra. Ma per tanti il sogno non si realizzò facilmente. Le strade del Nord America non erano affatto piene di oro. Ci furono anni di strane sensazioni, mesi freddi, caldi, su mattoni che moltiplicavano. Mani diventate grosse, di cuoio, sogni e desideri risposti in caverne seminterrati, con il colore di vino che invecchiava. Le sere c'era la puzza di sudore, di gruppo, di pasti miseri, conditi di risentimento dalle mogli di aspiranti padroni. Per mio padre il sogno terminò presto, schiacciato con il suo ginocchio sotto il peso d'acciaio lungo un binario di ferrovia. Aveva 31 anni, senza assicurazione, poco interesse per i diritti dell'uomo emigrante. È un uomo rotto a 57 anni, cammina con un bastone, raramente apre i suoi occhi appassiti, ma il governo gli spedisce $51 al mese in riconoscenza. Mio padre non c'è più, come tanti altri, ma ogni passo che io continuo in queste strade, le sue gambe rotte mi accompagnano senza dolore. Grazie tanto per ascoltarmi.
Caterina?
Thank you.
Good afternoon. How do you read after that from Gianna? I want to call her Signora. She's the matriarch of Italian female Canadian voices in our country. I studied her in York University. I want to cry. She's a beautiful woman. And I encountered Marino. As you can hear, he can talk quite a bit. So I had to interview him in the city of Brampton for our Italian Heritage Month. And the two of us kind of hit it off, and he found my phone number, and he used it liberally. And when he calls, I was taught to respect my elders. So I answer the phone. I'm usually with my kids, I'm washing dishes, you put him on speaker, you listen to him. And there's a lot of wisdom because he has a lot of experience. And from the nonni, and the poets, and the writers, and the workmen, and the businessmen who are wearing suits, and their fathers and grandfathers wore work boots, we can learn much. And we're together today in unity under our Italiani nomi and I sangue that keeps us as one. So I wrote this poem and I called it Marino's Labor. I don't speak Italian like everyone else in my generation, che disgraziata, right? However, I do have an Italian translation that I won't embarrass myself by reading, so if you'd like it in Italian, I can get it for you. This is called Marino's Labor, for all that he's done and all that many have done for us. There is blood shed for me between the bricks and stone far from Rome, in city streets that have served our luxury and spoiled need, filled the pockets of proud Anglo men, soiled linens of humble Italian servants, blood of calloused, overworked men and women who made wonders of gold from dust of clay and flour, or with string in some sock factory by the water. The Italiani have taught me the pride of blossoming, sprouted from their sacrifice into this privileged sense of being a Canadese. What was it that propelled these honest men and women these uneducated doctors of love to flee their native homeland, to work with foreign objects, stranieri, in a land that didn't want them but needed their ethic. I see in them not some etching of perfection, nor construction of a perfectly lived life, but the strife of all that has built me, that has privileged us. They point me only to the dust that they are, to the dust that I am, to the Italian I still bleed with, in a land that I can't make home of, that I might lay down some of this privilege and discover the pride in the stones from the blood of their hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Jana and Katerina. We really appreciate that. These wonderful poems help us to reflect on the lives of these men and 3 women who suffered great indignities when they arrived in Canada. These men used simple tools of their trade when they took the jobs nobody else wanted, which led to so many deaths in our community. In the mines, they wore miners' hats and used manual picks. On the railway, they used railway spikes and hammers, as well as dynamite. In digging ditches, they used metal shovels. In construction, they used hammers. Humble tools for humble men doing humble jobs. As a part of honoring them, we usually lay these tools at the foot of the memorial every April 28th. But today they are laid close by on a table up front here. You will also notice objects related to safety. It is like great men like Fortunato Rao, Cavaliere Marino Topan, Odoardo Di Santo, and many others of their generation who changed, including Frank Colantonio, my apologies. That is also a very important person in the safety and labor changes of Ontario, who made changes in the safety conditions here in Canada, in Ontario, and which led to many changes here in Canada. We should all be grateful for their labor at a time when nobody wanted to hear it, at a time when the governments didn't want to accept it, at a time when the contractors didn't want to approve it. These men fought and they gained what we now enjoy, and we are grateful to them. Because many members of our community are older and the weather at this time of year is sometimes difficult, we have decided to honor the fallen workers here inside. For our honor guard moment, because we are not at the foot of the Italian Fallen Workers Memorial, we will use this photograph representing the memorial as our focus. We now ask members of the Italian Veteran Federations to form the Guardia d'Onore and take their ceremonial places around this photograph, which represents the Italian Fallen Workers Memorial Wall. Just give them a minute to come up. In addition to these humble objects, we lay a wreath every year in honor of these men of our community who are killed while working in Canada. Consul General Ziglioli and Michela Di Marco of Comites, who have always supported our project and fallen workers of our community, will be laying the wreath at the foot of the memorial representation. Once there, they will remain at the photograph representing the memorial wall for our yearly moment of silence. We ask that everyone in the audience stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Next year, it'll be 10 years since we inaugurated the memorial outside. Over the last decade, I've worked closely with Cavaliere Marino Topang and fellow committee member Mrs. Lillian Payano to collect and verify all of the names of the fallen workers for our beloved and poignant memorial wall that stands proudly in the memorial grounds of this beautiful Village Charities campus. Through our research, it became very clear that thousands upon thousands of Italian immigrant workers paid an extremely high price, sacrificing their lives as they were killed on the workplace tragedies all across Canada, mostly from terrible accidents, mining, railway building, and construction, as we noted, and then later from excruciating effects from the exposure to dangerous materials and the acquired industrial diseases like silicosis and mesothelioma. If you were here last year, if you receive our newsletters, you will know that our project exploded with thousands of names, so many so that by the time the memorial was built, we had no room. The memorial wall does not have the capacity to house all of the thousands of names that we still have to verify and that we know are there. After years of research, we still have so much to do. Last year, you heard Marino's impassioned plea to finish the memorial project and our renewed efforts to fundraise to that end. We are proud to say that our efforts were very successful. We were very grateful that many in our community, as the Consular referred to earlier in his remarks, responded to Marino's pleas. With Village Charities' help, we were able to accumulate over $65,000 towards our efforts to finish the memorial project over the course of last year. Several large donations and many smaller ones provided the needed funds to start the work on a new and completely updated website, which we hope should be running at the beginning of the summer. One such donation recently was also a $10,000 donation from the CIBPA, one of our community partners, and we thank them. This donation enabled us to begin the completion of the website, an integral part of our Finish the Memorial project. Another part of our fundraising goal was focused on a documentary to bring the fallen workers' story to another medium. We are happy to announce a collaborative project with TLN Media Group, coming soon to TLN TV, Mediaset Italia Canada, and Viva Streaming TV, the documentary called Caduti, La storia dei lavoratori italiani in Canada, or Fallen, the story of Italian workers in Canada. It will be an original documentary that pays tribute to the brave men and women who labored to help build our great nation from our community. They weaving together intimate personal testimonies, rigorous historical research, and expert commentary. Fallen profiles the sacrifices and the significant contributions of Italian workers in Canada uncovered by our project. It highlights critical lessons in workplace safety and also celebrates a legacy of resilience, everything we've been speaking about at our events for almost a decade. At the heart of the TLN Studios documentary is our very own 93-year-old Cavaliere Marino Topang and others, whose first-hand memories offer a powerful, deeply human perspective on this important chapter in Canadian history. Thank you to TLN. We are grateful to you for helping us to bring this story to the TV screen. That will be completed over the course of this year. Later, TLN will be conducting some interviews as a part of their research for the documentary once we complete our formal portion of this event. Please indulge them as they ask you questions and look for unique angles to present the historically significant story of the Italian fallen workers. In offering to complete this documentary highlighted from our research, TLN Studios has not only taken away the technical burden from us of this part of our project, but also the financial burden from us, which in turn has reduced our fundraising requirements substantially. In their hands, we know that this documentary will be completed and completed well, and we are eternally grateful to the members of the TLN team, all of whom are here today. Thank you. We still have a lot of work to do, and our new fundraising goal is about $155,000. So only about $90,000 to go, but stay tuned. Although Marino already wrecked it, maybe some nice surprises will be presented in a few moments. The Finish the Memorial project includes additional names verification, which includes almost 4,000 estimated additional names to be verified, a new book on the Italian-Canadian contribution to labor history in Canada, a complete website overhaul, and the documentary being developed by Telelatino. We have been fortunate recently in hearing from Andy Quadine, Sheila Kurak, Eudis Goldberg, and Alec Farquhar of the Canadian Mesothelioma Foundation. They have been longtime supporters of our project and have watched us develop over many years. Founded in 2008, CMF is a volunteer-run charity dedicated to raising awareness about mesothelioma, a rare cancer that is almost exclusively linked to asbestos exposure alone. CMF has generously agreed to make a donation to our Finish the Memorial Project initiative. Please welcome Andy Quadine to say a few words on behalf of CMF.
I'm honored and humbled to follow such a distinguished group of speakers before me. Per cominciare volevo ringraziare Marino e Paola per aver invitato me questo giorno per parlare con voi. Li conosco Marino e Paola perché purtroppo il nome del mio papà è sul monumento. Spiego in inglese fra qualche secondo chi sono e perché sono qua con voi oggi. Good afternoon. As Paula said, my name is Andy Quern. I'm a board member with the Canadian Mesothelioma Foundation. We are a registered charity supporting those affected by mesothelioma. Some of you may know all too well that mesothelioma is a terrible cancer caused by exposure to asbestos, and mostly affecting those working in the building trades. I'm also here as a proud member of the Italian community in support of the Italian Fallen Workers Memorial and the project. My father worked in construction all his life after arriving in Canada, and we now know that he and way too many of his friends and co-workers were exposed to asbestos in the work they did helping to build this city and many cities around Canada. My father went on to develop mesothelioma, as did many of his co-workers, and many of his co-workers shared the same fate. Asbestos-related disease is still the #1 cause of workplace fatality. There is no cure for mesothelioma. My dad's name is on the memorial we're supporting today, and it's very special for me to present a small donation on behalf of the Canadian Mesothelioma Foundation to finish the memorial project. We want you to know that the CMF, Canadian Mesothelioma Foundation, is here. We have a common purpose. We can help each other. We raise awareness, we help fund research, provide support groups, conferences, and we invite you to get to know us a little bit. Dr. Judith Goldberg, are you here? Dr. Goldberg is the chair of our CMF board. Please stop by later and say hello. I'd just also like to conclude by mentioning that we have a fundraising gala. We too need funds. On September 17th, Four Seasons Center for the Performing Arts in Toronto. This timing in September is aligned with Mesothelioma Awareness Day, which happens at the end of September. We'll have some amazing food. I promise there'll be some wine and some live entertainment. We invite you all to join us. Thank you very much. Grazie tanto.
They're going to talk about being Paisani now because his name is Quadine. Thank you to Andy Quadine and all of the volunteers who work towards recognition of industrial diseases and that plague workers of all generations. Your donation is very much appreciated and it means a lot, especially since we know you're from an organization that works for the money. Originally, we had a member ask us to put his father's name on the memorial, and it was just before the ban of asbestos in Canada, which was only a few years ago. And we learned about his story, previously having only being focused on the accidents in the construction field and so on. And we realized that his father had died of some kind of industrial disease. And the story went that his father used to come home, and if you grew up in the 60s or 70s in an Italian family, you would recognize the image. His mother used to force his father to come in through the back door where the laundry used to be, and she used to have him strip all his dirty clothes right at the machine so she could put it in there and he could be clean before he came into the kitchen. And unfortunately, she also, from handling his clothing, expired due to industrial diseases. So this was a terrible story for us to hear. And now their son is also sick and not well, and he used to participate in all of our events. So these are the stories that need to be known, especially the industrial diseases, in a way that they're a little bit more invisible than the other sort of accidents. They're all important. Anyway, until just recently, Marino was really worried that he wasn't going to live long enough to see the memorial project finished, and we had many conversations about this. But now, thanks to the community that donated about $65,000, as I mentioned earlier, since last year, and the Mesothelioma Foundation's donation of today, we are well on our way. A few months ago, though, I got a very excited call from Marino Topang, who told me that he had spoken to the Plumbers Union Local 46, and he said, you know, Paula, I'm not sure, but I think they're going to give us a lot of money. I think it's going to be the end. It's going to be well on our way. And I said, I'm sure that they're going to give you what they told you. I won't believe it until I see it. So I think he told that story earlier just to make sure that these guys who are here today will be forced to bring the check that they said that they were going to bring. Anyway, we can now see the light at the end of the tunnel, as we have almost all of the money that we need to finish the memorial project. Very little remains to fundraise. And Marino's relationship with the Plumbers Union is a very interesting story. He spoke of it in Italian a few minutes earlier, but he was in the 60s hosting a labor program. He did all of these guys did everything in their power to make sure that the workers were noted and people knew about them. And Marino's radio show, The Voice of Labor, was partially sponsored by the Plumbers Union at that time. And as he spoke earlier, the original guy that used to come, the representative, was called Jimmy Whitehead, and it turns out that he was an Italian who was so prejudiced, had such prejudice against him that he had to call himself Jimmy Whitehead, but his name was really Giovanni Capobianco. And this was a story that Marino talked about all the time before we heard about this donation, so it's just a wonderful connection. They used to meet at Costi, which is actually now the Italian consulate on Beverly and Dundas. The Plumbers Union was an amazing union back then, and they are an amazing union now. Anyway, all this to say that the Plumbers Union UA Local 46, under the direction of Rodney Clark, Eddie Panetta, and Tony Cialdone, and a few others, are here today. They are presenting a donation to our cause. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Eddie Panetta of the Plumbers Union UA Local 46 to say a few words.
Thank you, Paula. Thank you, Marino. Wow. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eddie Panetta. I am a member or business agent at UA Local 46. That's the Plumbers and Steam Fitters Union. Together with my colleagues and brothers that are here today, I've seen some of them that are in their nice uniforms here, and for Giovanni Capobianco, I'd like to, proud to donate $50,000 to the Italian Fallen Workers Memorial. We present this check on the National Day of Mourning, a day to remember workers who were hurt or lost their lives on the job. This donation shows our respect for those workers and their families. Thank you very much.
Could we maybe have the members of the Mesothelioma Foundation and the Plumbers Union to come up here for a picture? With Marino holding your checks? Sorry.
I couldn't believe it until today. Anybody has a checkbook in his pocket? Thank you, thank you.
Needless to say, we thank both of those groups. Every donation helps, but definitely this big one is a big
You
help.
get a receipt from the
So.
village charity. Columbus.
Marino, now your dream has come true. Okay. Thank you so much, I appreciate it. Thank you again. We now invite Michela Di Marco of Comites, President of Comites, to say a few words. She's been a longtime supporter of our project and we appreciate all her help.
Buon pomeriggio a tutti. My name is Michela Di Marco. I'm president of Comites Toronto, the committee representing Italians abroad. First of all, I want to thank the other committee members present with me today, Luigi Cornelio and Joseph Cafiso. Egregi membri del comitato, autorità presenti, signore e signori. We are here today to remember. We remember those who lost their lives while simply doing their job. They are not numbers, not just workers. They are faces, stories, families, and dreams that were never fulfilled. As we honor them, we must also face an uncomfortable truth. Remembering is not enough. We must reflect. We must change. Every fallen worker is a collective failure. We live in an age when work should be safer, more protected, more just. And yet, every single day, people still die because of unsafe working conditions. And this is unacceptable. Work should never kill. Work should provide dignity, not death. We live in challenging times. Today, more than ever, work is under threat from unchecked digitalization, rising precarity, silent exploitation. And in this shift, safety often becomes invisible. Safety is not an optional. It is a right, a duty, a foundation. We cannot accept that behind every workplace accident, we only hear the word tragedy, because it's often not a tragedy, it is a failure of training, of oversight, of responsibility. Today we cannot just commemorate, we must act. We need a culture of prevention, not just reaction. We need real inspection, continuous training, serious investment. Alle autorità qui presenti, al mondo delle imprese, al mondo politico, le leggi esistono, vanno applicate, i protocolli vanno rispettati, i diritti vanno difesi. Non possiamo aspettare la prossima tragedia per indignarci, perché nessun lavoro vale una vita umana. Oggi, nel nome di chi non c'è più, chiediamo impegno. In the name of those who are no longer with us, let's make sure no one else has to be remembered this way. Honor the fallen, protect the living. Onoriamo i caduti, proteggiamo i vivi. Grazie.
Thank you, Michela. I just wanted to take a moment to say that, to ask Marino Topan and Franco Antonio's daughter, if she's here, Angela, and Odoardo Di Santo, and Fortunato Rao to stand up for a moment, and Fulvio Florio to stand up for a moment. These men represent a generation. Alzati. Stand up, Odoardo, just for a moment. Come up here if you want, please. These men represent a generation of men who fought for safety back 40, 50 years ago. in some cases before I was born. So they have been an incredible commitment to safety and labor protection when it wasn't fashionable. It's fashionable today, but in those days, some of them even got arrested for what they did. So they did a really good job, and we're really proud of them. And among them and all of the others of their generation, we're very proud, and all should be very grateful. Thank you. Another group who has been very supportive of our initiatives is the National Congress of Italian Canadians Toronto chapter. Please welcome Angelo Bolota to say a few words on their behalf.
I'm here today to humbly represent the National Congress of Italian Canadians Toronto District as we gather to remember those who lost their lives as a result of workplace tragedies while working hard to build a better life for their families and a better Canada for the rest of us. Over the years, far too many Italian immigrants paid this ultimate price. My father often said, Italians were not brought here to take jobs away from Canadians. We were brought here to do the difficult and dangerous work that Canadians did not want to do themselves. He only had a grade 5 education, but he could understand perfectly what was going on. There are 3 reasons why we gather here today. Firstly, we gather to remember. Perhaps the philosopher George Santayana said it best years ago. Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. As our American neighbors continue to flirt with fascism, it becomes increasingly more important to recognize that we must learn from history to avoid repeating the same mistakes. In this case, we must be vigilant to ensure that the workplace is not allowed to regress into the dangerous and life-threatening environment it once was. We gather to respectfully remember those who lost their lives in helping to build the Canada we are grateful to call our home. Canada proud, Canada civil, Canada prosperous, and Canada free. Secondly, we gather here to mourn. Many of us have been personally touched by the loss of a family member or a friend who died needlessly as a result of workplace tragedy. In my case, I am here to remember Giuseppe Aragona, who came to Canada along with my father in 1951 to work in British Columbia building and maintaining Canadian National Railway lines. While completing their mandatory 1-year contract, Giuseppe pleaded with my father to move with him to Niagara Falls, Ontario, where his cousins assured him that there was plenty of steady work available. My father chose to stay in BC. 1 year later, Giuseppe Aragona was dead, killed during a cave-in while working to build an underground shaft to expand the Adam Beck hydropower plant in Niagara Falls. Today, this giant plant produces much of the electricity for Canada's Golden Horseshoe, one of the most industrious parts of Canada. Thirdly, we are here to gather in solidarity as a caring community, a community that has long been overlooked for the ultimate sacrifices made by too many of our members. It is important that these lost lives be appreciated respectfully and collectively. We honor them with our presence here today. What first attracted me to this project was Marino Topin's passion to make sure that all these people not only be remembered for their sacrifices, but that they be remembered by name, instead of as anonymous victims of workplace tragedy, by name. Sadly, as he and Paula Breda began to collect these names, they quickly ran out of space on the monument. This goes to show that the actual number of victims was much higher than anyone had ever imagined. We Italian Canadians have been quiet about such painful matters for far too long. It is important that this memorial and annual gathering be continued to give our fallen workers the recognition and the respect they deserve. I am told that there are still some 2,000 names that cannot be added to the existing monument due to space restrictions. As a caring community, if we're the caring community we claim to be, we must recognize the need to fund the respectful completion of this important project. And shame on us if we fail to honor our fallen workers as they deserve. We honor them in gratitude. We grieve them in solitude. We remember them in solidarity until there are no more victims of workplace tragedy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angelo. Actually, that is the sentence at the bottom of our memorial wall. So if you go out there, you'll see that last sentence written, penned by Angelo Bolotta. We would now like to welcome a very special MPP, MPP Rudy Cosetto, to say a few words. Not only is he a great supporter of our project, but he's also a family member of a fallen worker.
Thank you, Paula, and thank you, Marino. I was here last year, and it was an honor for me to be here, but this year it's even more because my father's name was put on the wall. And I want to thank you for doing that. Thank you very much. You know, be honest, I used to work in labor. I used to work for Unifor. I used to work at Ford Motor Company. And then I was lucky to become a politician. And I know that we've been working very hard to make labor very important. Sorry. Labor, very important. As you know, I have the Union 46 here that endorsed our party. We had 17 private sector unions that supported our party in the last provincial election because they know that we'll do whatever we can to help working people in this province of Ontario. And I was honored too, not only for that, we're the first, my sister here, Sylvia Galtieri, and myself are the first ever brother-sister elected in Queen's Park in the history. And I want to thank Michelle Cooper that was elected here as well in Eglinton Lawrence. But, you know, being here today and suffering what we did, I was only 18 when my father passed away. It was very difficult, especially dying of asbestosis. He was working at the Texaco refinery in Port Credit, and he was a welder. And, you know, I can't even remember all the things, but I remember seeing him pass away in front of me, coughing up blood. And, you know, and it's still, today, I still see that. I remember last year I was crying here, and I don't want to cry here this year. But I just want to thank you all for being here. And we got to continue supporting labor in the province of Ontario, because as being the parliamentary assistant to the Minister of Energy and Mines, I know that Ontario is going to be developing really quickly in the next 5 to 10 years. And my son, too, is in mining engineering. And knowing that his grandfather died of asbestosis, it brings fear to me that he's going into these mines 7,400 feet under the ground and, you know, working in mines as an engineer. And it really, you know, as a parent, waking up and hearing that something happens to your own children is the worst thing for a parent. So together, we will build a better Ontario, a better Canada, and we're going to continue supporting this cause here. And Paula, call my office Monday, and I will do a personal donation to this, okay? Congratulations, and congratulations to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Rudy. A new supporter from the Government of Ontario, MPP Michelle Cooper from the Eglinton Lawrence constituency, is also here and would like to say a few words of introduction in honor of the Italian fallen workers. Please welcome MPP Michelle Cooper. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for having me here today. I'm really honored as a new MPP for Eglinton Lawrence to be here. And it's really my privilege. I know that this is a solemn occasion. We gather here today to honor the memory of the thousands of Italian workers who came to Canada in search for a better future, but who tragically lost their lives while helping to build it. Here in our riding, we are fortunate to be home to a vibrant and proud Italian community. I've met many of you as I door knocked over 30,000 homes in this riding during my campaign. It's a community whose contributions are not only woven into our history, but quite literally into the streets we walk, the schools where our children learn, the buildings where our lives, where we live and work. And we're in our very foundation of our city and province. Thousands of Italian immigrants came to Canada with a dream of a better life. They brought with them a strong work ethic, of resilience, and an unshaken belief in the province of Canada. But unfortunately, that dream came at a tremendous cost to many, as we heard today. These workers face grueling and often dangerous working conditions on construction sites, in tunnels, on railways and roadways, working long hours with little protection. Far too many paid the ultimate price. They lost their lives while helping to lay the groundwork for the Canada we all know today. We gather here today not only to remember their sacrifice, but to honor it, to ensure that their stories are not forgotten and the future generations of Canadians understand the sacrifices made to build the country we all love. Thank you to everyone who has come here today, but especially the Consulate General of Italy in Toronto, Consul General Luca Zioli, Marco Verno, CEO of Villa Charities, and the Italian Fallen Workers Memorial Project Committee, and everyone else involved in this project. Thank you. As we leave here today, let us make sure that the contributions and sacrifices of those workers are never overlooked in the history we pass on. And the passion that all of you have with this project continues each and every year. Thank you all very much for all the hard work you've done.
Thank you, Michelle. We are happy to have you as one of our newest supporters. Another longtime supporter who was speaking with me a little earlier and reminded me about the first 4 hours of freezing inauguration day in 2016 is now the mayor of Vaughan, Stephen Del Duca. He would like to say a few words.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is an event, a gathering that is always such a profound honor for me to be in attendance for. And I want to begin by thanking the Consul General, of course, and the Consulate, and Villa Charities for co-sponsoring. And we heard Marino at the podium just a moment ago, or a few moments ago. He's still a force of nature, is he not? I mean, others have talked about this already, but if you spend any time at all with Marino, and I've had the honor of sitting with him to talk about this project, this mission that he's been on, along with the entire committee and Paola for so many years now, it is so abundantly clear that this is a passion, this is a project that he feels so strongly about, that he brings a zeal to this undertaking that frankly I think is unmatched. And so to be here with him, with the entire committee, and with all of you for this event today, alongside my colleague from Vaughan Council, by the way, local and regional councillor Mario Iracco is here with us today as well. Mario, thank you for being here. I know that a number of stories have already been shared, and each and every one, of course, is unique and compelling, and these are stories that we need to continue to tell each other and tell the broader community so that we do never forget the unimaginable, unspeakable sacrifice that far too many individuals had to make, I think to myself, and I know that there are many family members here today in attendance who lost a parent or perhaps a grandparent while they were working, I often think to myself, what must it have been like in an era so far removed from where we find ourselves today, when these individuals were simply leaving their home to go out to earn a living to support themselves, support their families if their families were here, or to send money back home, as so many had to do to support their families, generally speaking. They simply went to work. It's something that so many of us take for granted each and every day. But for far too many, they never came home. They paid that ultimate sacrifice. And to think, this many years later, thanks to the incredible effort of Marino and the entire committee, that we have been able, as was mentioned just a moment ago, to not simply anonymously honor these individuals, though that kind of honor has been important in the past, but to be able to do it by name, and to be able to work so hard alongside those who've made significant donations from the Plumbers Union and the Mesothelomia, I'm going to mispronounce that, you know what I mean, Foundation. It really is remarkable to know that this project is well on its way to being completed. Now, Marino came to my office at Vaughan City Hall a number of months ago, and we did talk a lot about where the project was at that point in time. From this podium last year, I did say that we had a collective responsibility to do everything possible to make sure that the funding is in place to help complete this project. And I know great progress is being made here today. I'm going to help us go one step further. So every year in the city of Vaughan, we organize 2 events, a Mayor's Gala and a Mayor's Golf Tournament. Those events raise money in the community from our business leaders and the companies that we are blessed to have in Vaughan. That money then goes into something we call the Spirit of Generosity Initiative. And so today, alongside my council colleague Mario Rocco, I'm here to pledge Marino to this undertaking to help you complete the project, a donation in the amount of $10,000. And the bad news is I don't have the check with me, but the good news is I am good for the money. Mario and I will make sure that you get the money in short order. But again, I know we are that much closer to helping this project be completed. Let's make sure we get it across the finish line. Let's think of those who deserve to be honored. Let's think of the families, many of whom are here today, as part of the proud legacy of those men and women who left home simply to work, simply to support themselves and those that they loved and never came home. Thank you very much.
Well, we're raking it in today. Thank you so much.
We're getting there.
Mayor Del Duca, thank you. Senator Francesca Lamarca of the Republic of Italy has also been an extremely long-time supporter of our project here every year, almost every year, and always helping us behind the scenes throughout. So she would like to come up and say a few words. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Buonasera a tutti. Thank you so much, Paula. So today we are gathered, as we are every day, on this International Workers' Memorial Day or National Day of Mourning, to commemorate and honor those workers, especially within our community, who were killed, disabled, injured, or made unwell by their work. Our history is also a sad one, as we all know, and the memorial outside of these walls bears testimony to that fact. Throughout the years, thousands of Italian immigrants in Canada were either injured or lost their lives in the workplace. In Italia, l'anno scorso, nel 2024, erano 1090 le vittime in occasione di lavoro, 6 in più rispetto al 2023. E 285 nel percorso verso il luogo di lavoro, 43 in più rispetto a dicembre 2023. Alla fine di dicembre, sempre del 2024, quindi soltanto pochi mesi addietro, È il settore delle costruzioni a far rilevare il maggior numero di decessi in occasione di lavoro, 156, seguiti da trasporti e magazzinaggio, 111, dalle attività manifatturiere, 101 e dal commercio, 58. Nell'ultimo anno, sempre 2024, si è testimoniato anche un aumento dei decessi in ambito lavorativo di donne e di stranieri. Chiaramente questo rappresenta un fallimento come già è stato accennato, delle nostre istituzioni, della nostra società. In una società in cui sempre meno player hanno il controllo dello scacchiere commerciale del mondo e si guarda sempre di più solo ed esclusivamente al profitto, diventa sempre più difficile tutelare la sicurezza del lavoratore. It is for this reason then that I am so grateful to individuals like Marino Toppan and Paola Breda, to the Italian entire committee, Italian Fallen Workers Memorial Project Committee, and to Villa Charities for their incessant efforts to advocate on behalf of Italian workers for safe workplace standards and to keep the memory alive of those community members who paid the ultimate price while merely attempting to provide for themselves and for their families. So may we continue to stand united to combat workplace insecurity, as one death, one single death, one injury, one accident is simply one too many. Grazie.
Thank you, Senator. We appreciate your longtime support. Some of our other supporters, Professor Franca Iacoveta, Professor Craig Heron, as well as Gilberto Fernandez of the City Builders Project, have written a theatrical production informing and commemorating the Hogs Hollow tragedy of 1960, an event that drew a line in the sand forever for our community and changed everything. The play will take place on May 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th at 7:30 and May 11th at 2 p.m. at the United Steelworkers Building Hall at 25 Cecil Street. The event profiled in this play was a significant one for our community, not only because of the tragedy, but also because of the significance in the safety changes that were implemented as a result of that terrible tragedy where 5 Italiani were killed. All Canadians benefited from the safety changes made after that tragedy, and all workers continue to benefit today. If you would like to see this play, please let us know and we can forward the information to you. It's always important as we close our event to remember and thank the people who contribute to our events. First and foremost, Marco Di Bono and Giulio Recchioni of Villa Charities. Villa Charities has been a long-time supporter, and these two people have been incredible with us for the last few years. Thank you. Thanks also goes to the Consul General Luca Zaglioli. Since he's been here, he's been a great supporter of us consistently, and we appreciate everything. Thank you. Thank you also to Michela Di Marco of Comites, MPP Cuseto, MPP Cooper, Mayor Del Duca, the Congress, Senator Lamarca, and all of the others who are participating today. It's meant a lot over the years. Thank you. All of our major donors also deserve mentioning. Gianone Petreconi from the donation of the Architectural Services, Joe Codiano, a former MP and now businessman, whose father was also a fallen worker, and who actually built our memorial wall. We thank you too. To Crystal Tile, who built our memorial wall base, we also thank you. And from now on, as a major donor, we have to thank the Plumbers Union, UA Local 46, as a major donor. And we thank the Canadian Mesothelioma Society Foundation, and Mayor Del Duca for the City of Vaughan for their donations and pledges today. Thank you so much. Marino wanted to make sure that we remembered the late, great Tiberio Mascarin, who helped this project immensely in a way that no one will ever understand. Thanks also to the participants of today's event, the staff at Villa Colombo and Columbus Center, especially Sabrina, Agostino, and Edgar, and many others, and all of the volunteers too. They set up everything, and it's always perfect every year. Thank you very much. Thanks also to the Primucci family of Pizza Nova, who never fail to help us with refreshments at our events. They've been regularly donating many pizzas for over a decade now. Thank you, Pizza Nova. Next time you order pizza, make sure it's Pizza Nova. We also wanted to recognize the entire committee. The men and women sitting behind me have been helping Marino for decades in some cases. So we would like to thank them. Fortunato Rao, Fulvio Glorio, Lillian Payano, Gino Cucchi, Paul Diulio, and Mario Maras, who's not here today. We have been together for a very long time and have been consistent in our help with this an incredible project. I also want to recognize two other people who I believe may be in the audience today. Vincenzo Pietropaolo, a very important Italian-Canadian photographer, and Professor Conrad Eisenbichler, which Marino used to say doesn't sound like an Italian name, but it is. They have been longtime supporters of our project, and we thank them profusely. Together, with a little bit of help from our project, they are launching a new book at the Librissimi Festival, which will be held at Columbus Center this Saturday, May 3rd. Their new book is on the late great Senator Peter Boza, one of the greats of our post-war community here in Toronto and in Ontario. We sincerely believe that if the late great Senator Boza was here today, he would be a valiant supporter of all things honoring the Italian fallen workers. He was a great man, and he always referred to Marino as the voice of labor. When Marino would come, he would say, "Here comes the voice of labor," at all the various events around town. The book was written and researched by Vincenzo Pietropaolo and published by Professor Eisenbichler. It's a long-awaited biography on the life of the great senator, a Friulano who made good, going from a factory job in the tailoring industry, where he worked alongside Gino Cucchi for a few years, all the way to the Senate of Canada. Incredible, an incredible story. If you want to see the launch of the book, please attend the Librissimi Festival this upcoming Saturday at Columbus Center. Hope to see you there. Thank you again, Vincenzo and Professor Eisenbichler, for your longtime support of our project. If we have forgotten to thank anyone else, please forgive us. Truthfully, so many people play a role in building this historical memorial and organizing these yearly events. It would be impossible to name all of them. We are grateful to all who contributed. Behind me is the committee, and they were all important figures. They all worked tirelessly over the years. This year, too, a special thank you goes to Professor Olga Zorzi-Pugliese. Not only was she a great daughter of Friulani, but she was also a great longtime supporter of our project. For many years, she guided us through our initiatives with both wisdom and intellect. She spent many hours on the phone with me and many emails helping me figure out what to do and giving me some guidance on how to handle some of the problems we encountered. This world lost a great lady a few months ago, and we stand with her family and the community in mourning her loss. There is a small initiative online to fundraise for a bench in her honor, to be placed at the University of Toronto, where she taught for over 40 years. We have made a personal small donation to that effort, but if you can help, please let us know, and we will send you the information about where to send some funds. Thank you, Olga Zorzi-Pugliese, for all your help over the years. We are very, truly grateful. Just a reminder, if you wish to donate to our project, continuing the initiative of the Finish the Memorial project, although it seems like we might be almost quite at our reaching point, but you may do so by sending a check to Villa Charities Memorial, or you can go to their donate page and you can select our project. If you're old school, you can leave some cash too. We're here to accept that. We'll stick around. But this concludes the formal part of our event today. We hope that you stay a bit and enjoy some food in our reception and mingle with us. Finally, may God bless all the Italian fallen workers and their family of Canada. May they be remembered and may they be honored always. Thank you.
See you next year.
See you next year.
See you next year. Thank you.
Let me get a picture. Let's get a picture. Let's get a picture of the, Fortunato, Fortunato, Fortunato. Come over here.
Vieni pure tu, Gino.
Marino?
Come on, Gino.
The only guy who doesn't have a card is the pledge union is me. It's okay with Andy, just reach out to whoever. And if you guys are having a fundraiser,
Take care. Okay, thank you. Tony. Voglio che scendo che non prendo un pesce.
Noi ci abbiamo visto 50 anni fa, quando eri ragazzo.
Come il nome?
Nicola. Si può sembrare vicino anche di San Nicola. Poi non ci abbiamo visto più.
Thank you for coming. We are very there. We are almost there.
Abbiamo già fatto.
Dovevo fare una cosa.
Babbo, sei pronto? E io pure, ma non mi E tu che fai? Ehi, ciao. Sono andato a conoscere Odoardo. Ci vediamo qua, spesso va bene. Anche
Yes, so compliment.
And you can check.